Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome everybody into the Overreaction Buffalo Postgame show on the Overreaction Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller. Wired alongside my co-host for this year episode, former Buffalo Bill franchise left tackle John Fina, who you can find on Twitter at John Fina. Please do us a favor. Please like, please subscribe, whatever platform you are consuming this presentation on. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. It helps us out more than you know. However, the Buffalo Bills come up short once again in the playoffs, adding Bo Nix to the list of quarterbacks that have bounced them out in Sean McDermott's tenure as head coach of the Buffalo Bills. But tonight was a night of blame to go all the way around the horn as the Bills blundered their way through the end of the first half, only to fight back, take the lead just to give it up again, and eventually force overtime. Everything was in front of them, John Fina, as all they had to do was go down and get into field goal range. But another turnover helped seal the deal, ending as the Broncos got assisted down the football field in the opposite direction by the referees to the tune of 52 yards in penalties. The final score being 33-30. If ever there was a cursed NFL franchise, John Fina, I feel like it's this team that we love so much.
Joe, that last thing you said, assisted by the officials, just burns me really hard.
Yeah.
And honestly, I try to look at the game as a very, fair arbiter.
Okay.
And, I look at the pass interference call that was called on Trey White.
Yeah.
Compared to the pass interference call that was, called against us or against not called against them. And I don't understand. I just don't.
I would say that I'm in a similar situation, but unfortunately the game should never come down to that. There was a lot of mistakes. What the Bills were -4 in turnover differential in this game, 5 turnovers in this football game. Some were buffoonery. Others were just bad bounces. That last interception off of Brandon Cooks, I felt like he could have been called down. I felt like it could have been called simultaneous catch going to the receiver. They didn't even look at it. They were like, nope, that belongs to Denver. But there was a couple others in there. The one Josh Allen interception was not great. Him throwing the football backwards at the end of the half. I don't even know what were the Bills. I mean, Sean McDermott said, we're just trying to be aggressive. It's like, bro, there's 16 seconds left. You don't have any timeouts. Like, if there's nothing there, tell your quarterback to sit down. Like, it's just surprising. A lot of blame to go around. So they played once again, John, they played complimentary football, at least in that era. But Joe Brady, I felt, had himself a pretty decent football game calling plays today. Like, there was a lot of good stuff from him today.
Joe, honestly, I mean, minus the turnovers, the Bills win this football game.
Agreed.
So, you can only control so much from the top deck calling plays. And, as much as I'd like to lay blame somewhere else, it's just a mixed bag.
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, there's just you got to protect the football. You got to make plays. You got to make tackles.
Can't make mistakes.
You can't make mistakes, and especially in a away game against the home team, mistakes are what changes the game. And I preach that at the high school level. Right. I preach that, to my son every day. Just say, look, you just can't make mistakes, right? You just got to give yourself a chance on every play. And, we didn't do that. We didn't protect the football. That was the biggest issue. I'm sorry if my voice is gone. I was, I was at the Anchor Bar Tucson. I was rallying the crowd. It was a lot. There were a lot of people, great fans in Tucson, Arizona. I mean, There must have been 150 people there at the Anchor Bar just cheering the Buffalo Bills on. I grabbed the mic. I did my deal multiple times. And, honestly, Joe.
Yeah.
The wings were fantastic.
Good. And
the service was great. The wings were we had like 5 people there. We had 60 wings.
Nice.
We ate until we were full. The beef on weck was fantastic. The only thing that wasn't great was, the ending of football.
The ending of the football game. And if you don't have an Anchor Bar in your town, you can still get the Anchor Bar experience, the home of the original Buffalo chicken wing in your home. Order online to have your wings shipped for game days, parties, and any occasion. Anchor Bar Buffalo, the original Buffalo wing, make great gifts as well. Go to anchorbar.com to order today. And also always check to see if there's an Anchor Bar in your local area, because you never know. There very well could be. When you look at this football game, John, you said you hit the nail on the head a couple seconds ago. The Bills were in control of this football game in its entirety, to include their own mistakes. Like they came out hot. They were putting points on the board. The offense almost looked unstoppable. The play calls were on point. The execution was on point. James Cook was on fire. Josh Allen was on fire. Then they make a bunch of blunders. They allow the Broncos to kind of to put that 10-point lead on them going into the half. The Bills come out at the second half, manage to get the lead back, make some defensive stops, again in control, and then they kind of like shoot themselves in the foot again. And I think that's just I think you said it best. It was literally a situation where the Bills were in control of this football game, the good and the bad.
It really was. We had a chance in overtime, right?
Yes.
If you just clear the slate and you say, we got this opportunity in overtime.
Yeah.
That's when you got to go mistake-free. That's when you got to go perfect. And we just were unable to do that. Whether you want to say the referee, the officials were, unable to support our effort, or however you want to state it. Frankly, you got to overcome the game.
Yeah.
In so many aspects.
Yeah.
And just shockingly, I'd love to point to one person. I'd love to point to one thing, and you just cannot, right? I mean, Denver played a hell of a game.
Yes.
Denver battled their ass off. And we had an opportunity to win it when it was right in front of us, and we just were unable to do it.
Yep. One of the few times that the Bills were unable to execute and get down the field, at least to get into field goal range, which is something they've done a lot throughout Josh Allen's career. I think that's another good point, though, John. This was an entertaining football game. It had ups, it had downs. It was a roller coaster. It had you in it. It had you out of it. There were times like the amount of people at halftime on Twitter that were just basically, and even in our Discord, that were like, it's over, like I'm out of here. And then sure enough, the Buffalo Bills come back and take the lead. It was an entertaining football game. Like it was a little long. I didn't like how long it went into overtime, but at the end of the day, it was a good football game. Got our first super chat. Do you want to read that one from Leon Oric?
Oh, Leon, are we cursed? Are we cursed? Leon, you've been watching the Buffalo Bills since the 90s. And, honestly, I don't believe in curses. I don't believe in all that kind of mumbo jumbo. Honestly, all I really believe in is mistake-free football.
Right.
And, it's really hard to perform perfect football in an away environment. Mm-hmm. And that is expressly what was needed today, and we were unable to accomplish that.
Yeah, it's I mean, obviously there's another team on the other side of the ball, as you and Jerry always say, that they're also getting paid and trying to force you into mistakes and errors. There was a lot of good gameplay. I felt like the game plan from the Bills coaching staff was good. I felt the game plan from Sean Payton's coaching staff was good. I feel like I put it in the Discord. It was pretty evident that Sean Payton at the end of the football game wanted to finish that game with a touchdown at 0-0 with the clock at 0. And then they made the mistake of throwing that deep ball, which became a touchdown and left Josh Allen 55 seconds, of which Josh Allen went down, got into field goal range, and kicked the field goal to extend it into overtime. But I thought it was the only criticism that I would have of Sean Payton's game is he did exactly what the national media and the Denver media said, which was he got away from the run probably a little bit too early. But their adjustments, like they did a great job of getting gashed by James Cook, John. And then by the end of the game, there was no place for James Cook to run. And obviously they were betting run on first down because the Bills were just force feeding the run on first down, but there was no place for them to go with the football.
Well, Joe, the only place I disagree with you is I feel like Joe Brady needs to understand that on 1st and 10, that's really a play action down.
Right.
And I would like to have seen in a couple of instances, let's go play action on 1st and 10.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, I think he called a pretty damn good game.
Other than the one strange wide receiver screen to Shakir that ended up the next play right after it was the interception that Josh Allen forced. It was just a bad thrown ball to some and the safety got him. But yeah, I mean, it was a well-coached game. The Bills made their adjustments on both sides of the football. Then the Denver Broncos adjusted again. I mean, it's a good football team over there. They've got a great head coach. They've got great coordinators on that football team. You don't want to give it to them. You don't want to do the proverbial, I can't believe I'm saying this, tip of the hat to the Broncos, but they played a good football game. They beat the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills assisted them in that process, but they beat them. What did you see early on in this game that the Bills were doing to basically get James Cook so open and so free, and what changed later in the game?
Well, I really liked the approach early on, right? I mean, they were, I don't want to say they were running the same offense, but they're pretty much between Bills and Broncos. They were trying to control the clock. They were trying to, nickel and dime their way down the field.
Right.
And it all worked out. Honestly, I mean, a lot of people want to say this game is done on Josh, but really at the halftime, Josh has got to take that ball and go down.
Yeah.
Josh has to make a couple of better decisions, understand where they are. And 3 points in the NFL is an enormous amount of money.
Yes.
And frankly, it just confounds me that, when he ran the ball, he didn't tuck it, slide earlier, just give up the half, whatever you want to call it. And then, that pass that was intercepted. I mean, I just thought it was a really poor throw on, not really an open receiver, but, something he could have thrown a little bit longer.
Right.
He threw short.
Right.
So I'm not laying this on Josh's feet. Okay. I'm a huge Josh Allen fan, but frankly, it boils down in the end on quarterback decisions.
Right.
And if you don't have the right one, you put it on the quarterback, and that's just where it goes. Right. You'd like to have a couple more defensive stops or what have you, but honestly, we did not protect the ball well enough. James Cook fumbled, that's his job. I don't care where you have the ball, you have to protect it. And you know what? He didn't have two hands on the ball got loose, and that's on James.
Yeah, for sure. And Josh Allen was responsible for 4 turnovers in this game, two fumbles and 2 interceptions. Obviously the fumble before the half, and then the one where he got blindside tackled, basically due to the announcers tried to blame it on Ray Davis and his chip, which he did kind of push the defender back. But Josh, to your guys' point, dropped to about 11.5 yards, so he was a little bit deeper than he was supposed to be. But Deion Dawkins was in chase, and then obviously the 2 interceptions. I don't feel like, I know there's people in the comments section saying that this one is not on Josh. I feel like Josh shoulders as much blame for this one as anybody in this football game. I don't think there's one person, one side of the ball. I don't feel it was on the coaches. I feel, if there's a weight that's gonna weigh in favor, you can't have 4 turnovers in a game, and this is not something normal for him. So it was just the way the ball bounced. I mean, even that you talked about the long ball, like Josh threw long balls too, and there was a couple ticky-tack close could have been called things that the refs didn't call anything. And then on the final drive, they're throwing the yellow flag everywhere, all over the place to get Denver down the field. It was a little, yeah.
Yeah, that. All right, Joe.
Yes, sir.
If you have, let's go back a comment or two.
Yeah.
If you've got a chip, right?
Yep.
So Deion Dawkins has to take depth. if he takes depth on that chip, he's able to react to either the outside rush or the inside.
Got
if
it.
he doesn't take enough depth, he's always vulnerable to the outside rush.
Okay.
Right. So, I mean, I don't put that one on Josh. I don't put that one on the chip. I put that one directly on Dion. If he knows he has a chip, he's got to have a certain amount of depth. And look, I harp really hard on quarterbacks dropping to 9 and 9 at the maximum, right?
Right.
And it's too many. 11, you know what? Pick yourself up off the ground.
You've said that many times.
Right. When you've got a chip, you've got to come to depth, and it gives you that sort of latitude to respond to an inside move or what have you. I put that one fully on Dion.
Right.
Factually speaking, right, the biggest killer for us, and I hate to say this, I hate it. I look at the type of calls they make on pass interference on one side as opposed to the other.
Right.
And I look at the replay, and, a buddy of mine was with me, frankly, who's a Denver fan. He lived in Denver for a long time. He's a big Broncos fan. And I'm sitting there with him, and he's like, well, he didn't turn his head. And I'm like, that's fair. But the Denver player didn't turn his head on the previous play. So if we're going to call it, apples to apples, then, there's parity. But minus that, I'm just a little bit kind of like, that Trey White call to me was shitty. Just flat out shitty, Joe.
Right.
I watched the replay. I watched it live. It was shitty.
Yeah, it wasn't great. The Trey White one was interference, which is
okay. Yeah. You want to call it interference? That's fine.
Yeah,
but call the other one against Denver interference also.
Correct.
I don't post a lot of selfies, but I posted one. I'm like, PI.
Yeah.
Well, how is that not PI? And the one on Trey is PI?
Yeah, for sure.
Not a fan of that.
Yeah. So as this game opened up, clearly the Buffalo Bills, like I said, did a very good job running the football. Josh was kind of in his bag as well from throwing the football. And then the wheels just kind of came off. And that's just kind of how the ball bounces sometimes. How do you react as a player when like you feel like, hey, we've got a game here, like this is going to be good, and then things start to unravel a little bit? How, as a player on the sideline, how do you typically react to that?
Man, I mean, I don't even know how to answer your question, Joe. I mean, the amount of emotions, that you run through as a player, you're just like, fuck it, we can do this shit, and you just go out there and you're like, we got this. And then there's like, a crappy call, or, you just feel this unbelievable feeling of like, what else can I do?
Right.
How much more can I do? And I felt like, as an offensive lineman, I always kind of like couch this in how do I feel as an offensive lineman? I feel like up front, the Bills played pretty goddamn well.
Yeah, I agree.
And, we lost a couple of really big pieces in the last game. We were down some guys, and we knew that this was almost like a survival game, even though we didn't expect to get Shavers back. We don't expect to get Gabe Davis back, but it's almost like a survival game in the mentality of, if we can get through this, how can we retool and play the next football game?
Right.
So in some way, you're just like banking on, we can do this because we believe we can retool in the following week.
Yeah, you and I talked on the Salem's Off Tackle with John Fina show on Monday, just about how we both felt that this was a team that had the opportunity or had the potential to beat any team left in the tournament. And I still feel that way. Like, even with this game, the way that it went, we just got done saying that, like, this team beat themselves. Yes, there was some referee interference towards the end. as far as that goes, but it's just unfortunate. And this week is locker clean out. Do you have any memories or emotions about locker cleanout day? Like, is you go into that day just kind of like, I don't want to talk to anybody, or is it like an opportunity for you to feel like maybe like close the chapter on the season?
Oh man, honestly, after a loss like this, I don't know that anybody even watches the film.
Oh, really? Gotcha.
And you're kind of like this feeling of, if you watch the film, you relive it, and you almost create a longer term embodiment of it, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you just kind of want to forget and move on. There's going to be a number of guys that are just like, it's locker clean out in one respect, but for the core of this group, it's a function of, if you relive the pain, you carry it with you. If you just understand the pain and move on, you feel like you can grow from it. Right. So I just, for me, watching, from watching when I played, when we fell short, I just wanted to stop. Right. And just the feeling was enough for me. Reliving the game was maybe too much.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's going to be a bad taste in their mouths all off season. It was, I don't know. Did you have audio? Did you have game audio at Anchor Bar, or was it just music? They had the audio on, correct?
Yeah. You know what? It was faint. Thank God. It was faint.
Well, I was gonna speak to just Jim Nantz closed out the broadcast with basically, the next time Josh Allen touches a football field, he's going to be 30 years old. He's going to be a dad, and he's going to be playing in a brand new stadium. And it just like, man, like this kid got to 30 quick. And it's unfortunate how good he is. Arguably the best player in the NFL, maybe one of the best players to ever play football, not including Otto Graham, who has never saw him play, but has unbelievable stats if you go through the record books. And it's hard to believe that this is kind of where we are, just ending the season the same way that we've ended it the last 5-6 years with him. It's unfortunate because it goes fast, John. As you know, it goes fast.
It does. But I will say this. There is a version of the Buffalo Bills that can win and win often with Josh Allen playing within what one might say a conservative offense.
Okay.
So what I take from this season, with really lack of a, wide receiver one kind of situation, is there is a beauty to NFL football where ball control and smart play calling has its place.
Yeah.
And, look, I'm forever the optimist, right? That's my Shakespearean tragedy, my Shakespearean flaw. But I honestly believe that James Cook, with 2 or 3 more years on his contract, whatever the hell it is, and Josh Allen, and with one more piece at a wide receiver position, and maybe a couple of pieces on defense, that this team can make for what might be a occasionally boring performance succeed in getting to the big game.
Right.
And that's my take. Right. Looking at last week and this week with the type of offense that they ran, there's a part of me that believes. And
the question is why did they?
Joe,
yeah,
I'm a Bills fan to my core.
Yes, you
and
are.
I believe.
Yeah, but it's funny because like there was a moment in the second half, and I put it in the Discord channel. I was like, they're just lining up and playing good football right now on the offense. Like the play calls were solid, the execution was solid. It wasn't the weird stuff that we'd seen all season long. They were just going up, and they were just winning at the line of scrimmage, and the play calls were solid. There was some creativity to them. There were different play calls than we've seen. There's a lot of stuff we saw in this game that we haven't seen all year. There were some callbacks to seasons in the past, the big quarterback sweep on third down that Josh Allen went when Tony Romo said they won't run the football on this one with Josh Allen, and he runs a big quarterback sweep to the right-hand side. There was a lot of good football. I think I agree with you. I think I'm just and where I would disagree, and you know this because I've done it before, I don't want to see Josh Allen in a conservative offense. If he's 39, put him in a conservative offense. I'm sure his arm will still work, but at this point in his career, I just don't know why we would not have him throwing lasers all over the football field, but we'll see. I mean, there's going to be changes, John. Whether there's a lot of this roster is aging out, right? There's a lot of guys on this roster that are old. There's guys they've pulled off the couch for this season to finish this season with, which speaks to the job that was done at One Bills Drive this year to get this far in the playoffs, the second round of the playoffs, win a playoff game against a tough Jacksonville team with some of the guys they have. You got to assume there's going to be changes in the coaching staff. You've got to assume that there might be changes in the scouting and some of the like the personnel staff. We're looking at we're looking at a spicy offseason, I think, John.
Joe, I disagree.
Okay.
I wildly disagree with you.
Okay.
I don't see big coaching changes.
Not big. I said there'll be change in the coaching staff. I don't mean Sean McDermott.
Nope. I even down to the OC and DC, I just don't see it happening. You're going to see the typical, this guy's too old, that guy's, not able to play anymore, what have you.
Right.
But beyond that, in the front office, there won't be any changes.
Gotcha.
And I don't think there should be. I really don't. And I love that you want Josh Allen throwing lasers downfield, and I still think he's going to be capable of that. But I think the biggest mistake of the Buffalo Bills happened in training camp when they thought they had the same type of threat downfield
Gotcha.
as they had in previous years.
Right.
Now, look, they had to move on from Von Miller. They had to move on from Stephon Diggs. That's just a fact, okay?
Yep.
And that put us in a cap situation where we still suffer today.
Right.
But I don't think that you are going to see wholesale changes, beyond maybe the first or second round pick, focusing on the offensive threat.
Well, hopefully they can get it right. I mean, Joe Brady is out there interviewing for jobs. I've heard there's been enough smoke around the Josh Allen is not happy with this offense fire for me to believe that there could be a change there. Who knows about Bobby Babich? I mean, he's turned the corner. There was a moment, obviously, during the season where Sean had to take the play calling away from him and then gave it back to him. And Bobby has done a good job at the end of the season. So he did a decent job in this game. The offense, unfortunately, put him in tough spots. So Carol with the chat says this loss was not the fault of the coaches. It was poor execution. 5 turnovers. She's not wrong, John Fina.
Look, Marv Levy, who we all herald as one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Yep.
Not just a Buffalo Bills coach, says 100-yard rusher.
That's right.
And win the turnover battle. Right? That's 2 of what we now think of as 3 things, which is win third down.
Right.
And we weren't able to execute. That's just how it is.
Yep. Good segue over into the stats. And as always, John, feel free to stop me as I'm going through these. Josh Allen on the day was 25 of 39 for 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, was sacked 3 times and had a passer rating of 90. Not really a bad day other than the 2 interceptions and then the 2 fumbles to go along with it. James Cook rushing 24 carries for 117 yards, averaged 4.9 a carry, was screaming early in this game and then started hitting brick walls towards the end of the second half. Josh Allen rushed 12 times for 66 yards, had the 1 big long one for 26. Receiving, Dalton Kincaid led the day, 6 for 83 with a touchdown on 6 targets. Khalil Shakir, 7 of 75, also had a great run after catch, as you love to say, beef tallow. Ray Davis, 2 for 33. Dawson Knox, 2 for 32. James Cook, 2 for 24. I loved the slip screens that they were doing with James Cook in this football game. I feel like that should be a foundational element of this offense, if it's even possible. Brandon Cooks, 2 for 20. Keon Coleman, 1 for 10 with a touchdown. Mecole Hardman Jr. 1 for 4 with a touchdown. So Dalton Kincaid, Keon Coleman, and Mecole Hardman were your touchdown getters. Oh, and then Curtis Samuel had 1 catch for 2 yards as well. Jumping over the team stats. Total yards in this game, the Buffalo Bills had 449 total yards to the Denver Broncos 349. It felt that way, John. It felt like the Bills out-offensed them, did it not?
It really did. And that's the part that really just kind of like pulls at your heart, Joe.
Right.
You felt like they were in control. They had everything. And then when there was an opportunity to score, they just came up short.
Right. Right.
And that's the type of thing when you get a drive going, you got to reduce penalties, you got to reduce mistakes. You just have to continue to capitalize, and we just couldn't do it.
Right.
And look, I mean, I was surrounded by over 100 Buffalo Bills fans at the Anchor Bar in Tucson, and the optimism was so high.
Awesome.
And it was just such a great environment. But the fact is, you have to protect the football. That's it. That's it. You have to own the football, Joe. And we just couldn't do it.
Before I go on with the stats, that's actually a really good point. When you talk about what the Bills went through this season and the big comebacks in those 4 football games where they were down by 2 or 3 possessions and came back to win, when the Bills were down by 10 points, as much as they blundered their way into that situation, there were some people wanting to jump off the wagon. But I felt a great sense of, no, I think we got this. Like, I think things are okay. Like, they could come back from this. Like, I had a sense of hope. Doesn't mean I wasn't nervous or anxious, but this team was battle tested for moments like that.
Yeah, I was with you. I mean, I honestly, when we went to overtime, my confidence was high.
Yeah.
I felt really strong about it.
I felt better about going to overtime than I did the Broncos driving on their last drive when they got the touchdown, like with leaving 55 seconds left. Like, I felt better about overtime than I felt about the Broncos on that last drive. I felt like overtime suited us.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
There were opportunities to win this game despite the mistakes that we made. There were so many opportunities.
Agreed.
Joe, my overall feeling is take the officials out of the game. And we weren't able to do that, right?
Yeah.
We let the officials get involved in the football game. And that is never a good solution for anybody.
Right.
And we did it, and it bit us in the ass.
Yep. Getting back onto the stats, passing yards for this football game, 266 for the Bills, 279 for the Broncos, 183. Rushing yards, 183 yards the Bills put on the ground against the Broncos. 70 rushing yards for the Broncos, who by all means, should have run the ball more than they did. Yards per play, 5.8 for the Bills, 5.1 for the Broncos. First downs, 28 for the Bills, 22 for the Broncos. Third down conversions, the Bills were 10 of 15. 66%, John, is what that looks like. 8 of 16, 50% for the Broncos. Fourth down conversions, 1 of 1 for the Bills, 1 of 1 for the Broncos. Total plays, 78 for the Bills, 68 for the Broncos. Sacks allowed. Josh Allen got sacked 3 times. That's a big one, too. Bo Nix, once again, John, playoffs. The Buffalo Bills are in the playoffs, can't get the opposing quarterback on the ground.
I agree. We did have a pick, by Deion Walker. Mm-hmm. We did have some tip balls. I think, if you use sacks as the only statistic for stopping the passing game, you're not really, being very bright about it.
I agree, but I feel like putting a team like the Bills are often in 2nd and 17 makes a big difference.
No, for sure. I'm not going to dispute that. I mean, there were a couple of occasions where, frankly, Josh could have thrown the ball away.
Yes.
And, it's hard. Like, we can look at it from the video on the TV screen, and it's easy to say, Josh, throw at the feet of Curtis Samuel. He's right in front of you.
Right.
And instead he takes a sack.
Right.
So, honestly, I don't really see sacks in this game as being the biggest change of what happened. Honestly, it was really protecting the football.
Yeah.
You know,
well, the one was a strip sack, but yes, on Josh Allen. But yes, to your point, I agree with you 100%. I don't know that the sacks made. I think they overcame the other two. It was just the one that they fumbled, that Josh fumbled on, that they did not, and they went down and scored on that, if I'm not mistaken. Interceptions. Josh Allen had 2, and we had the 1 interception by Bo Nix. To your point, to Deion Walker. Love seeing a big guy interception. Those are always fun. Time of possession. Buffalo Bills almost 41 minutes in this game and come out on the wrong side of the win column. Tackles 31. To the Broncos 48. Field goals 3 for 3. Prater was on point in this football game. The Broncos were 4 for 4. And then red zone conversions versus attempts. The Bills were 3 of 5. The Broncos 1 of 4 in the red zone. This is a game, John, that just set up for the Bills to win. You look at these numbers.
All right. I'm going to interrupt you here. Okay.
All right.
You got to protect the football. That's what the entirety of the game came down to.
Okay.
That's it, right? You just said that the game was set up for the Bills to win. We lead in rushing, we lead in passing,
time of possession,
conversions,
plays, everything. First downs.
Protect the football.
That's exactly right.
Protect the football. That is it.
It.
You want to lay it on Josh? I'm okay with that. Look, I love Josh Allen. I love him.
Right.
I'm a huge fan, but I'm not beyond the point where I will say, you fucked up. Okay? James Cook, your job to run the ball, portion of that is to hold the ball. And it was a great hit. It was bad timing, bad angle, whatever. But that's your goddamn job.
Hold the ball.
Protect the ball.
Hold the ball.
The game is won and lost on protecting the fucking football.
Easy, John.
No, easy my ass. Protect the ball. We win the game.
It's 100% accurate.
And look, I love Josh. I'll say it all day long, twice on Sunday, right? But you got to protect the ball. And I'm not blaming him.
Yeah.
Look, the freaking game is fluid. It's fluid, Joe.
Yeah.
You look at it as a fan and you say, oh, we should have done that. We should have done that. We should have not done that. We should have not done that. We shouldn't have fucked around here, fucked around there. But you got to protect the ball. That's it.
That's it.
And look, you say, all right, well, he's trying to win the game. I get it.
Right.
And I get that. And part of that just contributes to mistakes and turnovers. I don't blame him. I love the guy.
Me too.
But that's what happened in this particular game. And look, you don't want to post my profanity on social media? Fine. Fuck you. That's fine. Okay? I didn't think the version of the Bills would go this far. I didn't think we'd make it to the Lombardi with this offense. And that's okay. And I still love you, and I still love Josh, and I still love every one of you motherfuckers in the comments. But you got to protect the ball.
The wheels have come off.
The wheels have fucking come off.
All right. So with that,
with that what?
I've done the stats. We've gone through the game. You definitely have given the last comments of this
show. The Overreaction Podcast, Joe. I'm over fucking reacting. I can't even turn on ESPN right now. I want to fucking put a needle in my eyeball.
So for the offseason,
that's it. We're going to the offseason now.
Yes, that's exactly where this is going. Naturally, we can't have a post-game show next week. So yeah. For the offseason, just so everybody knows, the Overreaction Sports Network is not going anywhere this offseason. In off seasons in the past, we've always taken breaks and kind of like whittled back the programming, but we're in this offseason with you the whole way. So the Sunday night Buffalo Overreaction Buffalo show is going to be on every Sunday night, and then the Salem's Off Tackle with John Fina show will be on every Monday night, of which John is going to break down more than likely a different player every week, just to kind of give everybody a feel, both on the offense and defense, to give everybody a feel of how their season was this year. And then Tuesday, we're gonna continue on the beat as well. And then obviously Wednesday, 7 days to Sunday with Jerry Strosky and Zig Fracassi. I'm hesitant to give the microphone back over to you to see if you've got any final comments before I get us out of here.
Listen. I think Josh Allen is a fantastic football player. I think this Bills version was a very, very challenging construct.
Agreed.
To get us all the way. He was put in a position mentally to do things over and above what he may or may not have felt he needed to do.
Agreed.
The problem is we as fans can look at the game objectively as it happens on the replay. But as a player, when you're in the middle of this shit, you just react.
Right.
And I love Josh about that. I do. And I'm honestly, I'm optimistic about, and it's crazy to say it this way. I'm optimistic about the potential growth of understanding, of working an offense in a very methodical and albeit conservative way to wear people down and beat the crap out of them and wait for Josh to have his moment where he slings it downfield with a dart like Joe Miller loves to see.
Love to see it. Love them lasers, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the Overreaction Buffalo post-game show on the Overreaction Sports Network presented by FanDuel. By the way, the line in this game, I believe the Broncos were favored by 1.5. And obviously they beat the spread on this game. They gave 1.5 to the Bills and they beat them by 3. So, but so good to have every single one of you guys with us this week. Tomorrow, I'm sorry, not tomorrow. Monday. I feel like it's Sunday night. It's Saturday night. Monday night, the Salem's Off Tackle with John Fina show, where you're going to get more raw, uncensored commentary from the John Fina. Tuesday, we've got Mike Catalana from Buffalo Plus in Rochester, Rochester Wham. What is it? Forget the station number. Whatever. Wham Rochester. And then Wednesday, of course, 7 days to Sunday. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here, for joining us, for me, for John, for Jerry, for all of us here at Overreaction. We love you. Appreciate you. Go Bills. John. Are you there, John?
I'm breathing heavy right now. Today, tomorrow, and always go Bills, Joe Miller!
He was typing in the comment section. Go Bills.